welcome back to another episode of Between Two Spines. Over here, Dr. Aaron Andrews, you can call him Dr. A.
This is our
Way down here, I'm Dr. Greg Personally, call me Dr. G. And we are here with Gray & Co. We are actually upstairs overlooking the river, which you can't see out the windows, at Ragsdale's in downtown Cape Girardeau, which is pretty cool. So I don't know, I think this is episode 7 this year. It's season 2.
Moving along.
Moving along.
Multi-guest episode.
Multi-guest episode of the year, that's right. So let's have some introductions.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm Bobby Gray with Gray & Co. Connoisseur Real Estate, and this is my lovely wife and business partner.
Now you called her the boss, really.
Yeah,
She is the boss.
Well, you got to introduce her as the boss.
So this is Mr. Gray & Co.
Yes, that's right.
No. All the way. The other direction.
Not the way around.
Very much so. Very
So
much so.
you guys got a ton of hats. I mean, we're just starting off with the realty hats, but you're a bourbon connoisseur. You're a veteran. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Air Force veteran, right?
No, Army.
Army veteran. Thank you very much. You are a cancer survivor, which we may talk about.
That's right. A little cheer.
And go on YouTube, but
The lovely.
I'm the
local
quiet
historian. He does some really great history things he's going to talk about on Facebook. So maybe keep going. What?
Oh, okay. No, we're letting you guys have your bromance. That's fine.
I was going to get to Elizabeth too. Yeah. So they do a ton of stuff. Business owners. They got a coffee shop coming over and talking about the section. How long you got?
So we got coffee. I heard bourbon. We heard let's see, what else? Oh, real estate, obviously. So really, if you drink anything, or if you are into owning or renting a home, then you should listen to this episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
Thank
you've
you
got
for
this
having
place
us.
listed, and I've seen your faces on a whole bunch down here in town. So you want to talk about some of your listings or what?
Yeah, absolutely. And first of all, I mean, I'll say with regards to Elizabeth and I, you know, we each have kind of a really unique role, and that's what seems to make Gray & Co. work. Is that, and I'll be honest, she does truthfully 85% of the work.
85%.
85% of the work.
We all know
And,
that's underestimated.
and I'm the guy with like the squirrel attitude, you know,
Yeah.
like I'm over here and over there.
That is true.
And she kind of reels me in. But yeah, like right now, I do some commercial real estate as well as residential as a team. And right now here in downtown, we've got a number of properties listed for lease. We have also some for sale. We currently have the old Capitol Hall Bank building that is set to close here very shortly. And then we have for lease, we have the bar, which I got some great news to tell you guys about that. We have the Buckner-Ragsdale building, which is actually kind of 3 properties in one. You know, it has the Ragsdale bar on the lower level facing Water Street, which most of us have been in there for some time in our lives, for over 21. And then the main level is the old Buckner section, which is set up as a brew pub restaurant. So anybody's been to Columbia, if you think of Flat Branch, I think that's where its perfect niche is. And then we're upstairs right now in the Riverview room, which is obviously an event center, a very profitable event center, and it's available for lease as a facility and as a business for that matter. If somebody wants to take that.
For all the old JC members, we used to have our meetings up here. So you remember this room if you're a JC member.
Just a great facility. This is a huge building with a ton of history. And we also have the Chocolate Works building on Broadway for lease currently, which is a great space. And recently leased the old Stevie Steak Burger. Probably have seen
Yolanda.
That's right. So,
Guess if they watch episode 6. That's right.
Last week.
Yeah, Yolanda. So she gave me a Chicago dog,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
It's absolutely the best. She's fantastic. She's
Yes.
incredible. We're glad to have her as part of the
Wow.
community.
We're lucky to have her.
In line with that, I'll go ahead and make a quick announcement about the bar. I'm sure a lot of you guys are very familiar with the bar facility there at the corner of Themis Spanish, and recently inked a deal where that is going to be opening up as a new restaurant. Those of you that are familiar with Gabriel's, Gabriel and his partner Johnny will be opening a new restaurant there within the month. It's going to be French cuisine. called Le Bistro at the Bar. So you
He's got his hands
Can
in
you do
everything,
that?
just
Can
like
you do that in a? Since you haven't said anything, can you do Le Bistro in a French accent?
Gabrielle.
That beats.
Oh, that's better. I don't know.
It's more Italian. I don't really have French.
When we were with Gabrielle, we were Gabrielle, and the whole time it was probably annoying.
I started to write that way on the contract.
He's doing a lot too. He's got the pizza place open, just like you guys got your hands in everything.
Seriously.
So back to Kappa Hall. Can you say what's going in there or not? Or is that
No, I don't represent the buyer on that side. I'll refer you guys to Jake Fish on that one. Feel free to touch base with him. But no, since I'm not involved directly with that particular client.
I would like to say a disclaimer at this point. I feel sorry for Terry, who's going to have to list all of these people and tag all of them. You're welcome, Terry.
Hashtag Kappa Hall Bank.
That's right. Everybody we mention is going to be tagged on this. So just keep mentioning names, keep throwing them out there. But that's awesome. And then you guys said something about a coffee shop, right? So
This is all.
So,
Elizabeth
yes.
gets to talk.
Yes.
Yay!
Well, first of all, I have to explain how this kind of works. Like, I'm more like the jockstrap of the business relationship. Can I say that?
Yes.
Am I allowed to say that? So what I do is I offer great support services, but I don't see the light of day a lot.
So
That's kind of my role.
This
I'm
is now
support
my
services.
favorite moment on you.
I mean, that's the best way to describe
Is that your
it.
job title? Elizabeth,
Yes.
the jockstrap.
Yes, that's about right. That's about right. Somebody has to be like, behind the scenes, making everything, sure everything is like properly held up.
Yeah, and you're doing it because I've got you guys in a group message to organize this, and I never ever got a text back from Bob. He was always, Elizabeth, I'll have him there. I'll make sure this is there. He will be there. He said he can do this.
You know what? I
What
need
is it?
an Elizabeth in my life.
Everybody needs a
I need an Elizabeth when I start going, hey, let's do this. Let's chill out. Let's just let's hone back into what we're doing.
She's my rock, and you guys can have her.
You're sweet.
I don't want your Elizabeth. I want Anna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But to talk about Scooter's Coffee.
Yeah, exciting.
Yes, so Scooter's is it's a franchise that started in Omaha, Nebraska, and how we got kind of involved in it is we were in Columbia, Missouri. We went to visit our kids. They go to college there, and we went through the drive-through and got a coffee, and I was just kind of sitting in the back seat, drinking my little cup of coffee, and the cups were so cute. They had like little woodland animals on them, like little raccoons and stuff, and I had a little happy face sticker on top of my lid, and it just made me happy. And I was like, man, I've never heard of this company before. So I got online and I started Googling it, and I'm like, man, this is just fun. Like, everybody just needs something, just make you happy, just need a moment of happy. So long story short, 11 days later, we were at the headquarters, and we kind of learned more about their business and got very excited and decided that we wanted to be a part of Scooters. So we opened our first Scooters location last October in Sikeston, and we're opening our second location this summer in Cape.
Awesome.
Where's that going to be in Cape? Can you say that?
So we are purchasing a piece of land. If you know where Dairy Queen is, right in front of Snooks, there's actually a little piece of ground between Dairy Queen and William Street. Kind of a lot of people use it as a cut through with Tommy.
Yeah.
It's actually a separate piece of property.
Okay, perfect.
So it's going to be right there.
Little drive.
So it looks like somebody, this guy, is going to be heading right through there.
That's on my way to work.
Oh,
man. Coffee.
Yeah, you're
what
the
else?
coffee guy,
Yeah.
We got coffee. You guys did it.
But you'll be able to soon.
So another funny story. You know,
Oh no, it's not my business.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's just a funny story when we discovered it. It turned out some friends of ours in the area had discovered it at exactly the same time. So, which is really kind of cool. We're sharing, the brand and the Joe Jackson, Southeast Missouri here together. We're going one direction. We're going another. So it's kind of unique. We showed up at the same event.
And Omaha also has a Jackson.
They have a back
But you showed up in the same event in Omaha,
Yes,
not knowing.
that's right.
The interesting thing about it, they told us, they said, hey, by the way, there's another couple from Jackson that's also applied, and we can't tell you who they are. That's really up to them. But as a matter of fact, they're both coming to the same event. So the entire way up there, she and I played a game. We were writing down names.
Who do we think it
We
is?
took turns trying to guess to see who would get it right. And neither one of them was guessed it. And they're mostly known for. Our boys played travel football.
Well, that's amazing.
So, did you guys fight over who gets Cape or Jackson or whatever? Like,
No, they actually they were there first, so they got to go the direction they're going, and we're going, and it's fantastic, working out really well, and it couldn't be better people to share.
So let them put scooters up in Jackson for a little bit, and then go, hey, how's it going? How's that going over there? Oh, it's going well. Oh, we're gonna go ahead and go and move the Cape one now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We're gonna move in. Yeah.
Great opportunity.
So when's the estimated open?
We're thinking probably late July, maybe early August, but the goal is to be open in late July. And yeah, so we're really excited. I mean, bringing amazing drinks and some smiles to the area. So it's exciting.
Some caffeine.
Cape really is a
We'll drive through.
just like that too.
Yeah.
And especially that part of town. There's nothing.
We're really proud of the culture that's great, and more importantly, we were looking for something to invest in that didn't dominate our time. It doesn't take us away from our careers because we love real estate. You know, we've been doing this together for 18 years now. She's been doing it 3 years longer than that. So
I was only 22
Yeah,
when I
was
got
gonna
my
say,
license.
you must have been probably 16.
Yeah, it's
Big
baby.
baby.
So everybody that watches these, when he and I started these, we originally started it to answer questions from our patients so they could learn about us personally. You know, how do we find out about chiropractic, where we're from, how many kids, blah, blah, blah. So, where did you guys meet? Let's hear some personal information that people want to hear.
That's some really
Well,
personal information.
okay, so I'll tell you this story. We met at Lowe's. So I was.
That's right, you were a
Yep.
manager.
Mhm. Yep, he was a lawn. Were you a lawn and garden person?
I was assistant manager.
Okay. Well, I worked in the cash office, and I was going to college at Southeast, and I worked in the cash office at night. And so one day I was in the cash office talking to the other ladies, and he walked in and said something very sarcastic, and said, and I don't know what we're talking about. And he goes, "Well, that's just life's little perks, isn't it?" And he walked out, and we're like, "You know that Bobby Gray? He is just the biggest smart aleck ever, you know." And then a little bit later, I'm in the cash office doing my job, and he knocks on the door, and he's like, "Hey," he's like, the soda machine took my $1. Do you think you could like reimburse me for that?" And I was just like, "Well, life's little perks, huh, bud?" And I was like, "That's it." And about from that point, we started dating a few weeks later, and about 6 weeks after that, we got married. So
Yeah.
when two smart alecks meet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we met. Yeah.
Continue on.
I was the proposal something like, "I bet you won't marry me."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Fairly close, yeah, fairly
Oh,
close.
here.
The interesting part about it is we were already talking about getting married, but it was going to be a little later. And just out of coincidence, I'm originally from Texas, so I was going back on this one particular weekend to see my parents, and her sister lived in Dallas, and I was going to Fort Worth, which is right together. And so next thing you know, we ended up just basically, we were both in Dallas at the same time, and we got on the phone with each other, and we said, "You want to go and get married now?" So we literally got married like right away.
That day.
Yeah, my dad was he's a building engineer who was before he retired at the tallest building in Fort Worth, and we actually, in about on a day's notice, we got married on the top of the tallest building down there.
That's cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah. And then
How long have you guys been married now?
27 years.
Yeah, it'll be
27
27 years this year. Stopped at J.C. Penney on my way there. We're back to we spent the day together and dropped me off at my sister's, and I was like, "Hey, I've got to be somewhere like tonight at 7:30. Can you take me to Fort Worth?" And she's like, "Yeah, like what are you doing? Like you just got in town yesterday. Like where are you going?" I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna get married tonight about 7:30. If you can give me a ride." And she was like, "Okay." So we left and we went to J.C. Penney, and I went through and found a dress and like just a cute dress, and like went in the dressing room, put it on, and pulled the tags off, and went up, paid for it, and got out the door and into the car, and that's it. We went.
And it's worked out okay.
Yeah, that's great. I kind of have a similar story. It's kind of funny. Now, it's kind of the opposite though, a little bit. So my wife and I, we started dating in February of '04, and a few months later we took a trip. We were supposed to go to Springfield, Missouri, to her sister. So I met her sister. We went from Springfield. We decided to drive to Dallas, and when we were in Dallas, we stopped at the place we were going to go. They were out of town. We were surprised. They were out of town. Kind of coincidental. So we went to a Dallas Fort Worth like visitors bureau. We ended up. They said, "Oh, you guys are from St. Louis. Houston's playing St. Louis tonight. The Cardinals." Playing. I was like, "Well, how long does it take to get there?" They're like, 3-4 hours. And what time's the game? 3-4 hours. let's go. So we show up at the first inning at Houston, and the next morning, and we spent the night in the hotel. The next morning, we got up, went to Galveston because we were 30 minutes from the beach. Before we knew it, we were like 13 and a half hours from our house. And so the funny part is while we were down there, the conversation came, well, why don't we just get married while we're here? Why not?
Why not?
So we came back. We didn't get married while we were there because I thought my mom and dad would kill me eloping and first kid getting married. Anyway, so we came back and we told everybody we got married. And her little sister was 15, 16. She got mad. You got married? I wasn't there. You know, so it's kind of similar. It's kind of very similar. Dallas brings everybody.
It does.
Yeah.
Something about
Texas.
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 Yeah, it's water, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my quick story.
Well, we need something interesting about Aaron, that AA or not.
We've told a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I say we get an interest. What do you got? Yeah, you got something interesting.
Yeah, something.
Here, while you're
Well,
thinking of a
something- I
story,
have a ton of interesting
while you're thinking of a story, we're above Ragsdale's, okay? I got to hang out with Coolio, the rapper, in
No way.
Ragsdale's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, was
They
he
had
at
the
the shopping
90s,
center?
the
Yeah,
90s
yeah.
tour, and he was
Very
one of them.
fun.
And so my wife and I went down there and hung out with Coolio for a little bit, and I thought that was kind of funny.
That is
So yeah,
fun.
all right, now you get to share your
Yeah.
Angie story.
Okay. So Aaron's.
So yes.
Oh,
My what?
Your Angie story.
Yeah,
My
you got
Angie
story.
We have a great story. We have a ton of great stories. Yeah. What do I even begin?
Can I tell
Okay,
a
well,
really, can I tell a really quick one about it?
Yeah, I want to hear your Aaron and Angie story.
You know, don't believe it or quote it.
Oh, okay.
It's all good. No, but one of my favorite moments with Aaron is we went on a trip to Colorado one time, and we went to a concert that he saw at Red Rocks, and then we took this little tour up to Estes Park and, to the Rocky Mountain National Park. It was gorgeous. I highly recommend it if you get a chance. But at one point, we were going through Boulder, Colorado, and everybody was dry. Like everybody.
You have to give more background.
Go ahead.
Uh-oh.
Well, it's just like we're all foodies. Like Aaron's a foodie, I'm a foodie, Bobby's a foodie, Angie. Like we're foodie people. Like we like food. So like when we travel and go to towns, like we want to go. Okay, where's the coolest place to eat? Like where can we eat? We can't get that back home. So we've been foodie eat for days, and then we drive it up, like you said, through Boulder, and everyone is so fit. Everybody's jogging, riding their bikes, and we're like all fat, and, like solid walk, retaining salt.
And it was a little bit of a build-up effect because everywhere you look, you saw all these beautiful people. Not that we're not beautiful people, but these were like, 130-pound beautiful people everywhere. And so we start going up this mountain, and it gets steeper and steeper and steeper. And we get to a grade that a car shouldn't be able to go up. And all of a sudden, this guy comes bicycling by us. And Aaron just looks over and releases an expletive. And I'm not going to say what it is, but it was the most appropriate expletive I've ever heard in my life. Just so you know, it was the perfect timing. He was like, "That is a fact."
Yes.
When our car is struggling to go up this hill, and you're bicycling by us,
Yes.
that's enough. That's
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
So it was good.
So let's talk about this bourbon and whiskey. You guys go on all the trails, partake a lot. I know you know a lot about it. You try to tell me about it when we're drinking, and I don't pay attention. I'm a
First
beer
off,
He's a
guy.
beer
First
I'm a
off,
beer
you're making me sound like a lush. I've actually cut back way back, but I do enjoy tasting whiskey a little bit, and that's the way you drink whiskey. But he's asked me to just kind of mention what's the difference, what is a bourbon versus other type of whiskey. So first off, you said bourbon and whiskey. Whiskey is like the big, what's the big title? It's the all-encompassing.
It's the umbrella.
Yeah, whiskey is everything. It's bourbon, it's Scotch, it's Irish whiskey, it's Canadian whiskey. All of those fall under that category. Worldwide, it's based on
I remember this now.
You know, Canadian whiskey is maple syrup.
Is that right?
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's smooth. There's
Yeah,
no
it's
doubt.
smooth. It's just maple syrup.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
that's-
You tap it up with your.
That's right. They ferment a little bit. Yeah. So the main the way you break down what a bourbon is. Bourbon, first off, has to be made in the United States. It's a little bit of a myth. It does not have to be made in Kentucky. That's a Kentucky straight bourbon. But bourbon can be made legally anywhere in the U.S. You can't outside of it. It's the government stepped in and said bourbon has to be American, just like Bordeaux has to be made in the Bordeaux region of France. Bourbons have to be made in France. A bourbon itself is a whiskey that is made with a minimum of 51% water. It really stems back from the time when this was coming about, the absence of the other grains that a lot of the Irish and Scotch and Englishmen that can come over to the United States, they didn't have all the grains that they were used to making whiskey with, so they started to experiment, and they discovered that they could make a pretty good whiskey with predominantly corn. So bourbon has to be a minimum of 51% corn, and then all the other grains, you're generally going to have some rye in there, barley, that's what activates the yeast, and a number of other things, wheat and things like that can be in bourbon. But bourbon itself has to be a minimum of 51%. A rye is just the opposite. A rye has to be a minimum of 51% rye, which is another grain. So when you hear the difference between them, they're both whiskeys, but a bourbon is made up in that particular form, and rye has to have a minimum of 51% rye. Within bourbons, you can have bourbons that are more rye heavy, more wheat heavy as that secondary grain, and rye makes them a little more peppery. Wheat tends to smooth it out a little bit, as corn. So you can get a big difference just in bourbons just by what that secondary is. I know that's a lot of boring stuff, but that's the difference between a bourbon and other whiskeys.
We're getting a plethora of information today.
Too much?
No, we could have done like 4 weeks in a row with you guys. This week we're going to talk about real estate.
Yeah.
Next week we're
Should
going
be
to
part
talk about
one, part two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we're going to talk about coffee. I mean, this would have been a great series of the first series. Anyway, sorry.
I think she was wanting me to mention, this is actually 12 years. If you guys have ever heard kind of the golden goose, so to speak, of bourbon, is patent family. Very hard to find, very limited edition. It's actually a Buffalo Trace product now. But the way that it's chosen is they have all these thousands and thousands of barrels, and they have these professional tasters that go pick 1% of 1%. That's the best. It's in this rick house, this warehouse where it's being aged. It says that's the patent. And they continue to age it. All the rest of it, most of the rest of it all becomes Weller.
Interesting.
So,
I
Weller
want
is
to know why that wasn't part of my high school evaluation as a potential job.
Right.
A professional whiskey taster.
Is that not a job?
I mean,
Yeah.
how come they don't mention those type of jobs?
Is that
Like,
not a
you want
job?
to be a firefighter or a policeman
Yeah.
or a lawyer or a doctor or a whiskey taster.
Well, because you're in high school, you got to acquire that job.
Yeah. I think you have to be born in the right town to have a chance at that job. You gotta have the right class.
I read an article about that.
Interesting stuff. Yeah. So that's anymore. This used to be able to probably 3-4 years ago to be on the shelf fairly regularly. Now this is I think the least expensive I've ever paid for this size bottle. I think I paid around $30 one time, and you won't find it.
You don't find it.
Yeah, online, it's secondary market costs about $200.
Oh.
Have you been to that distillery?
I actually have not been to the Buffalo Trace. We've been to everything around Bardstown a couple of times, but that's over more on the Frankfurt side. Yeah. Oh, cool.
This is good. We just picked this up at Cass.
Good old cast.
Yep.
Make sure, hey, we got another tag.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there's another tag.
There you go. So that's my whiskey.
Maybe they
That's
must
cool.
see one.
Well, I don't want to know.
Yeah. I got hold of it.
Here's four of them. Well, so is there anything else you guys like to add? We're kind of getting towards the end, running out of time.
Yeah.
This is our longest episode ever.
So sorry.
You'll be
Oh,
able
no,
to
it's not bad.
coffee beans, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you
Is
go.
that a drink?
And that would be, but I think
That's an
a whole,
off-menu selection.
that's a whole different level
Well, I
of
mean,
license.
obviously can't afford everything.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a shame we didn't. I real love about this town.
Yeah.
Facebook.
Maybe we should just.
Yeah,
maybe,
if you
maybe
haven't
we
checked
should.
it, go to his Facebook page. He has some really great historical videos where he goes to different homes, different businesses, and talks about them.
Maybe we can do like a travel in between these ones where we just go around and talk about this video or this building or that building. Because I love doing that, going to towns and like my wife and I just took a little day trip to St. Ben and spent the night just walked around and looked at old buildings. Yeah, and just like, wow, this is really neat. Look at the history of this thing, and like this building we're sitting in, and the history, and just learning about why it was built initially, how it's been used over the years.
And the fact that
Great.
Coolio used to hang out and cocktails and all
Yeah, I think he was paid to do that. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. Yeah. Oh, we were.
I didn't
there
know,
this
but I
time.
remember everybody talking about it.
My wife was able to get up on stage with Salt and Pepper and Tone Loc.
All here?
It was at the
Oh,
show
it was there.
center.
Oh, okay. I thought they all came over.
Yeah, Salt and Pepper. She was all excited, and Tone
Yeah.
Loc was up there, and they
Really
were
cool.
dancing. I'm like,
Go check their videos out. You guys had some wonderful quarantine videos where they were making
Quarantine
drinks.
cocktails, yeah. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Again, educating, talking about the history,
Yeah.
talking about the ingredients.
well, I know I'm a big fan now. I'm a big fan.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Huge
It's
fan
fun.
for you guys.
Really
Oh,
fun.
thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mutual.
But anything else you'd like to add before we go? Anything? Anything else?
The only thing I like is how lucky we are.
Oh my gosh.
I agree. I agree.
He just did
Like
a
his
load of
mom.
dishwasher when he gets home.
See. Well, this has been another episode of Between Two Spines. We're probably going to hang out with these guys again in another one later on. We're going to maybe take the stuff that we talked about today, take it aside, and add another bunch of stuff. It sounds like we could do this
Let's go
for a
to
couple
Sneers when
hours.
it opens up for sure.
Oh,
That'd
absolutely.
be great.
Get me all hyped up on coffee and then have me do the introduction. Yes! I love some coffee. But I appreciate you guys being here. Check out all the links and all the information. I mean, the videos he was talking about, it's all in the intro there. So go ahead and click on all that. Make sure you like, share, comment, those type of things. You never know. We may give something away. You just never know. So,
Yeah. Check out all the listings down here. You'll see their beautiful faces on the poster.
absolutely.
Can't miss them. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on. Like I said, this has been another episode of Between Two Spines. Catch you on the next one.